All right, fellas, so today we got a nice video. We're talking about my new Edward Green shoes that I just got. These retail for like $1,300. And I'm going to be comparing them with these Johnston Murphy shoes that I've had for a while now, and these retail for like $300, and we're going to compare them and see what the differences are. Before I get into it, I saw tons of comments on my videos, basically forever, on like all my videos saying that I talk way too fast and I need to slow down. So let me know if I'm doing a good job at slowing down. Now I know what you're thinking. How the heck does a guy like me with a measly 4,000 subs on YouTube afford $1,300 shoes? And the answer is, I can't. And if you follow the channel, you know that I almost never pay retail pricing for like anything. And so I got these for pretty much the same price as these $300 Johnston Murphys. These were $312.50. And I got them at Saks Off Fifth. Just on Black Friday I went, and it was 50% off clearance. And these were marked down from $1,300 to $600. I don't know how they got there, and it was 50% off, so I got these for $312. And it's just a pretty amazing price. But because I bought them at a discount center, Saks Off Fifth, there was a slight issue. The right shoe was missing the insole, and it's a great story how I solved that problem, and I'm going to get into that later in the video. But for now, it's just crazy that I got these Edward Greens and the Johnston Murphys basically for the same price. We're going to break this comparison into basically 4 categories. The first one being the most obvious, the leather. Now, when you look at the Johnston Murphys, they actually have a very beautiful finish to them, and they're made in Italy. But I've been wearing these for like a year, and you can see hopefully that there's a lot of creasing over the vamp where you bend the shoe. And that's due to just the natural grain of leather, and that's actually a good thing because you don't want to see corrected leather that a lot of times companies will strip away the top layer of leather to make it look nicer. So you do want to have that full grain, but it's just not that good looking when you have a lot of creasing in the front. But when you look at the Edward Green shoes, now I've only been wearing these for a couple weeks now, but they're using like the finest, I think it's French calf, so they're both calfskin, but this is like the finest leather, and you can definitely tell that already the creasing that goes along the vamp of the shoe, it's just a much tighter grain, and it's not, you don't see that like pebbling kind of look. It's just a very tight finish, and what that means is that over time, they're gonna age really, really well and just look brand new for a long period of time. Of course, they have a great patina that they stain them in the factory and they make them look fabulous, but the main point is that this leather is just higher quality and it's gonna look newer for a lot longer. The next category we're gonna be talking about is the construction. So when you look at the Johnston Murphys, I'm not even sure, I think these might be Blake stitched because you can see that there's a stitching that goes around the sole. But overall, this is not going to be something that's like super sturdy. It's not Goodyear welted for sure. And another thing is like the stitching. It's kind of, you wouldn't notice this necessarily unless you had this comparison, but it has like relatively thick stitching all over the shoe, which generally speaking, as we'll see with the Edward Greens, is not necessarily the best thing. But now when you look at the Edward Greens, they actually proudly stamp it on the insole. These are made in England, in Northampton, which is like the epicenter of shoemaking in England. They're Goodyear welted, which is the best way to make shoes. And of course, the stitch density on the Edward Greens is like ridiculously high, which basically means that all over, the way they stitch it, it has a lot more stitches per square inch than basically any other shoe in the world.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. It is true. Now that's it for all the nerdy, nitty-gritty details, but if you want to hear more about that kind of stuff, I highly recommend checking out Kirby Allison's video, and I'm going to link that in the description below. And as expected, the detailing is just meticulous on the Edward Greens. You can see the medallion, you can see the back has this beautiful stitching, and it's got my favorite thing, this serrated edge around the collar of the shoe. So everything is just like super, super high class and has this like a great attention to detail. And that's just not something that you're gonna see on a $300 MSRP shoe. Even though these are beautiful shoes and have a lot of great things about them, it's just not such, you're not gonna see that great detail that you see in the Edward Greens. And that brings me to my next point, which is the sole. So the sole on this Johnston Murphy is this proprietary, I think they make it extra light sole. It kind of looks like a day and night sole. It's foam, it's very functional, it's very practical, that if you're caught in the rain or you're gonna be walking a lot, to have this kind of foam outsole is very, very practical. However, it doesn't have that luxurious nature to it because it's just a basic rubber sole. Whereas the Edward Greens have one of the most beautiful soles that you can ever find on shoes in the world. And these, I think if you brought a random pair of shoes to the cobbler and you wanted to buy this sole, it would cost you what I paid for the shoes, $300, because they're that beautiful. What makes these special is that it's like whiskey. They soak the soles in a pit in the ground for 9 months with like wooden chips or something like that, and that achieves a very beautiful finish and also makes them very durable. And something else about the sole is that they're Goodyear welted, and normally you'll see that stitching around the sole that shows that they're Goodyear welted. But this, what they do is that they peel back. It's called closed channel stitching, and then they'll sew it and stitch it to the upper, and then they close it back up. It's nerdy, but it's the kind of thing that, like, I think at this point when you're paying $1,300 for shoes, they're just doing everything in the best way that they can. And this is just when I wear these, I know that I'm wearing like the best there is. Now, when we talk about the insole, I'm a big proponent of getting cork and leather insoles. The Johnston Murphy is just a pour-on, which is like plastic, plexiglass kind of thing, and it's not going to mold to your foot. These do fit me really well, and I don't find them uncomfortable per se, but really the best thing that you can get is what Edward Green is doing. It's cork, and then that's covered in a hard leather footbed, and as you wear them, it's going to mold to your foot and be like a custom-made orthotic, and that to me is just the best there is. And while we're talking about insoles, this brings me to the issue that I mentioned earlier in the video, that these were missing an insole in one of the shoes, and I had to reach out, and they had a great customer service. So category 4 is customer service. Okay, so let's get into the story. So like I said, I go into Saks Off 5th, I buy the shoes. I noticed, of course, that it was missing what they call a sock. It's that insole, just that red leather piece that covers the heel. And it wasn't enough to keep me from buying them. But when I got home, I reached out to them through their customer service email address on their website, and they were super nice. They forwarded me to the factory, and the lady in the factory was so nice. She sent me 2 of these insoles for free, totally. Told me to reach out when I got them, and then even sent me a video like that she made on how to install them with some glue. So I just thought it was a great display of customer service, and to me, the point is that when you're paying $1,300 for shoes, you want to be treated really well, and to me, even though I didn't pay $1,300 for these shoes, they still treated me like a great loyal customer, and didn't even ask for like, you know, a proof of purchase or anything like that. But to me, they made a customer for life, and I hope at some point I can go repay the favor. I'll go to England, go to the retail store and pay full price for a pair of shoes just because of how good their customer service was. Now, that doesn't mean that Johnston Murphy doesn't have great customer service in their own right. I had another story with Johnston Murphy where I wanted this pair of like tassel loafers, and they were sold out online, but you can like search but based on state, like for the shoe, and they'll tell you if a store has it. I literally searched the entire United States. I went crazy, and I found that in Connecticut there was a random store that actually had my size. So what do? I'm crazy. I'm the mensch. I call them up. I call up the store. I speak to the guy at the store, and I was like, "Yeah, is there any way you can ship these to me for because I want to buy them and they're sold out online?" The guy's like, "No problem. Let me call you back. We're really busy." He calls me back like 15 minutes later. We fill out the entire purchase over the phone. And sure enough, he sends them straight to my house. And I thought that was just an amazing favor the guy did for me too. So whether you're paying $1,300 or $300, it's great to know that Johnston Murphy and Edward Green, they both have great customer service. And $300, it's not nothing. You know, that's a lot of money for shoes, don't get me wrong. Although it's still an entry-level shoe for luxury footwear. But to me, it's just great to know that both these brands are going to take care of their customers and you're going to be treated well no matter what. The last category we're going to talk about is the last, which is basically the fit of the shoes. One of the main differences between these two brands that you'll see is that if you were to go into an Edward Green store, they have a ton of different widths and different last options that you're going to go in there and you're going to find something that fits your foot perfectly, right? And for these, I know that these were the only shoes that I could get at Saks Off 5th for this price, so I bought them. But I know if I went in, I probably wouldn't buy this because I have like a low instep, and these are kind of made for someone with a higher instep. So I probably wouldn't have got these. But they have so many different options of last that they're going to help you find one that fits your foot perfectly. Now, the Johnston Murphy ones, on the other hand, if you went in and you saw these shoes and you're like, yo, I like these shoes, there's only one option. It either fits you or you don't. And if it doesn't fit you, you're out of luck. And I remember seeing on Kirby Allison's video that if you went to Edward Green and you couldn't find a width and a last that fit you perfectly, they will custom make a last for you and make you a custom made pair of shoes. And to me, that's just the epitome of luxury. And that's why Edward Green is $1,400 shoes and these are $300 shoes. So at the end of the day, the differences between a $1,300 shoe and a $300 shoe are kind of minor. It's little things that the average guy is not going to notice. I get compliments on both these shoes. They both look great. They're both going to last me a long time, and I'm going to throw it back at you guys. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think you would ever see yourself paying full retail $1,300 for this kind of shoe? Or are you even thinking $300 shoes is too much for you? I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? And as always, I really appreciate it. Let me know what you guys want to see next in the comments below. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.